What's up, Farmer family? How y'all doing today? Today, we're going to be looking at another Pickln paddle. I have looked at the Pickln Alecto Blue, which is 100% blue Kevlar. One of the softest Gen 2 paddles on the market. One of the most recommendable paddles on the market. Then they've got the Green Blend, which is a step up in terms of pop and power. The power is not like a drastic difference, but the pop is definitely an increase. It is part Kevlar, part raw carbon fiber, and now they released this version of the Pickln Alecto, which would be considered their Gen 3. You're going to see how I feel about it and what I classified as towards the end. But yeah, I do have a code with this company. It's Farmer. If you use that at checkout, you will get $20 off. But yeah, let's get into this review, y'all. All right, when it comes to the pop of this paddle, this is definitely a decently poppy paddle. Like what they've done was they took a regular Gen 2 paddle and inserted another layer of foam inside of that foam basically, which increased the pop and the power like by a decent amount. If I was to classify this close to a paddle, I would put it really close to the Paddle Tech 14 millimeters, specifically the TKOC. It feels very, very, very similar to that. It's a really good feeling paddle, but just know that if you're used to something with a little bit less pop, this will take some time to get used to. So don't expect to take it out there the first day and play like supreme with it. You're going to have to get used to the paddle. Now, when it comes to the power, this is easily a top 5 paddle in terms of power for hybrid shapes. Just hybrid shapes. I'm not classifying it with the power, with the elongateds, because there's a lot of elongateds that have a decent amount of power more than this. But in terms of hybrids, this is very much in the top 5 in terms of power. Now, in terms of control, basically the way Pickln has been doing these paddles is you've got the blue, which is the most controllable, the Green Blend, which is a little less controllable, and then this one, which is a little bit, less controllable compared to the Green Blend. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to really, really focus and hone in this paddle. Much like most of these other Gen 3s that are on the market right now, they're not going to be one you can just go out and just play with. So if you're coming from like a Gen 1.5 or a Gen 1, you're going to struggle. This is not a very easy paddle, to control whenever you bring it out. You're still going to have to put in a lot of effort. When it came to the RPMs of this paddle, I got 1990 RPMs. It gets really good spin. Just like I always say, anything over 1850 is going to get you enough spin to do what you're going to want to do. Anything over the 2000 is getting pretty high up there. So this is like right at, in between the threshold of where it needs to be. Just don't worry about the spin, y'all. Most of these Kevlar, raw carbon fiber, raw fiberglass, titanium, all this stuff like that is going to get really good spin for the most part, unless they're doing something like incredibly jank. When it came to the swing weight of this paddle, this was a pretty light feeling swing weight paddle for a hybrid shape paddle. It was right at 112. Most of these hybrid shapes are going from 112 up to like the 117, 118 range. And this is at the bottom threshold in terms of swing weight, which was really, really nice. It didn't feel overly head heavy or anything like that. I could get it across at the kitchen pretty well. And coming from a wide body paddle, which is generally what I use, I can't have a high swing weight paddle. It messes me up on my swing. I'm really behind on, hand battles. There's a lot of negatives. But this one I didn't really struggle with it being 112. It's like right there basically with the R2 FX. It's close enough to where you're not going to notice a difference. But yeah, swing weight is really good. And right out of the box, this bad boy weighed 8 ounces. Now, in terms of twist weight, the twist weight of it was 6.49, which 6.5 is considered average or a good, twist weight. But this thing didn't twist in my hands at all, but it is right at that, 6.5 average. So that makes sense. But with the light swing weight, you can even put lead tape on this and increase the twist weight even more. But yeah, there's a lot of hybrids out there that have a higher twist weight than this. It's not like this is a crazy good twist weight stat for a hybrid shape. It's probably average or a little bit below average. But in terms of the sweet spot, that extra foam they added in the edge definitely helps. You don't feel like this, the sweet spot's lacking by any means. If you hit it anywhere remotely near to the middle, or even like this far from the sides, you're still going to get a decent amount of rebound off of the ball. Obviously, towards the edge, it's going to be dead. It's like that with every paddle, even worse with edgeless. But yeah, and the sweet spot is really good with this. Imagine the Gen 2 foam and the sweet spot, how that increased from Gen 1, and then they just added a little bit extra, basically, to increase the sweet spot even more. When it came to the price of this paddle, this is a $129 paddle without my $20 code. That brings it down to $109, which is crazy, crazy cheap for the paddle you're getting. Do I think it's worth it? Yes. Is this a Gen 3 paddle? No. I would classify this as a Gen 2.5. I don't think it's got the Gen 3 characteristics that the Yolas and the Rhombus Ripple and them have. But it does have very similar, pop compared to the Paddletech 14mm TKOC. So I would consider this one probably a Gen 2.5 if I were to classify it as anything. But yeah, this is a really, really good paddle. I feel like if people are having a hard time controlling, the Yola Gen 3s or the Ripple and want to step down, this will be a good option. Super good value. Pickln is really good at dropping, paddles with really good value, and this is no exception. All three of the Picklns are good. They have 3 different Pickln paddles for each person. So if you feel like this one might be too poppy for you, check out some of their other paddles. They're all literally under $110 with a code. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I hope y'all are doing good, staying safe, drinking plenty of water. Peace, y'all.